Hello, beautiful sunshines. Welcome to Now That's Love.
With your favorite mother-daughter duo, Ashlyn and
Janae where you get to know thyself, love thyself, and become the best version of self.
Because the greatest love story that you are ever going to tell is the one you create with yourself every day. We are here. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our lovely day of spiritual bypassing.
Oh, yes. As you can see, we're wearing black to initiate
So many deaths have happened. And honestly, I did not have this information, nor did Ashlyn, about what is spiritual bypassing, or we would have saved us so many years of our life. We got caught up in so many things we're going to talk about today, and you might find yourself in some of these situations still, and it's a walk, it's a journey, but it's imperative information to know to truly heal from what you've experienced as your inner child and throughout your life. This is so important. And so, spiritual bypassing, what is it? It is, let me get my little glasses on because I'm going to read it from my cute little board. One of the biggest problems in the spiritual community, it was coined by the late Buddha, John Welwood. We use spiritual ideas and practices as a way to avoid dealing with or facing unresolved emotional content or pain. Mm-hmm. Yes, and we're going to talk about this. There are two core beliefs, and this is where you need to really hear. Two core beliefs. This is where the work is for you to actually break open. And they are, I can't face it. You tell yourself, I cannot face what I need to heal. It's too scary. It will hurt me too much. I may not be able to pull out of it when I start to feel this. These stories are so hard. Whatever it is, it's just malware in your brain. And remember, it's the little kid talking. It's the little kid. Your brain wants to, take care of you. And so you've just got to say, this is not true. This is a little child core belief, and it's not true. And you can go do deeper inner work with meditations and saying, listen, this is what I'm fearful of. And then go into, this is what I now believe. And your brain will start to rewire the neuroplasticity. Number 2, some emotions are good and some are bad. There are no emotions that are good or bad. And I was stuck in this. There are no emotions that are good or bad. They're just emotions. And I think for me, I asked myself this question, where did this really step in? And it was 2012, watching The Secret. Yep. And then watching, I'm going to say Abraham Hicks, and you need to be in the vortex, and you have to have positive emotions, and you need to stay positive in order to manifest your life and what you want to create. Yes. And I got so caught up in that. And then all you do is beat yourself up because you're not seeing anything come your way. And this is one of the most false beliefs, because Ash and I have talked about this. Some of my craziest experiences, like trauma experiences, were some of my most enlightening quantum leaps of manifestation. So I can tell you for a 100% fact, and many others out there, that you don't manifest because of a vortex of energy, of positivity. You don't. You don't. It's going within. I went within, I listened, and I took action for my spirit, which is so mighty and powerful. And it didn't matter what was going on in my life. I still was able to quantum leap into the most miraculous things, healings and different things. So I just want to put that out there. I know I'm doing the little beginning show. I'm going to let Ashlyn have her turn.
Yeah, whenever we started the gratitude, there was many amazing things. Like, we did our podcast about gratitude, and all that was
worked.
True.
Yes.
Gratitude really is magical. But whenever we were shoving our emotions, like you said, down and not facing them, then that's whenever me and you were definitely spiritual bypassing. And this was in the beginning of our awakening journey, I would say, where we were like wanting to devour every single book. And so always pushing through the emotions and not feeling it. Then we weren't really wanting to be in reality, because we were shoving down what happened to us back in 2012. At least I was as well, with the church and everything. It's like, I don't want to feel this. So what did I do? Oh, I'm just going to feel happy and positive, and there's unicorns and rainbows all around me at all times. And if I feel any negative emotions, then my world will go crushing down on me. Like, that's literally how it felt. So we went from being in a religion that you had to be this positive light all the time, be this great example of what this church represents, and your family gets to be in the celestial kingdom, and everyone else will have to just they're peasants until until you
Well,
reach.
let me add to that, because there are three kingdoms. And so everybody was wondering then judgmentally, that judging ourselves of like, did I make it to this celestial, terrestrial? Yeah, I have celestial kingdom. And then you were worried because we were taught that the families would be in these kingdoms. And so I freaked out, because I'm like, oh my goodness, what if my son makes it down to this kingdom and I'm up here that I don't get to be with him? There's a lot of psychological warfare
Yeah.
with
It was
that.
like
And
the
so
destination we were trying to obtain, and then that swapped over to the spiritual realm. We didn't know we were doing this until maybe like
no, it's
3 years ago.
all, yeah, give yourself a lot of grace in this, because all of us have done it. I would say everybody goes through these lovely steps, and that's why we're leaving it here, so you can go through much faster than what we did, because it was literally, like Ashlyn said, here's the church. Now we're going to go here, and we're going to be judgmental of ourselves and other people, because, oh, we are love and light, and we are positive vibes only. And look
we've
at you,
done
Miss
all this
Negative
work,
Pants.
and you need to hop on board with us.
Yeah,
So we
well,
will
and I'm over
train
in this spiritual community that's even, this way, and guess where you are? Like, you are
Yes.
unconsciously
So
programmed.
ask yourself if you're trading it for something else that you used to do. So, like my mom said, we kind of got addicted to the healing of
Yes,
wanting to read more books and
the
just gain
dopamine
all
hit.
this knowledge of this grand awakening that we were feeling. And it was amazing. We needed to read these books to be where we're at now, but we were being very avoidant.
we read them, and there's something that I think, because of the holistic coaching and different things, and then being able to show you the actions of what I was doing was different for us, because we were taking action on the books. But so many people that I know will read a lot of books, and it does feel that dopamine hit. It feels great while you're reading it, and it should feel great. But you're spiritual bypassing if you're not taking action in what the book is teaching you and trying to help you with. And you can get, like Ashlyn said, caught up in one book after the next book, after the next podcast, after the next, just one thing else, instead of going within and saying, wait, listen, I need to face what I've got going on.
Exactly. And I think too, I was always trying to find the deeper meaning behind things during spiritual bypassing. And that's something that you could also do, not even just replacing it for something else, but I started being like, everything happens for a reason, and I wasn't honoring those emotions that I was feeling. And obviously, those end up attracting a lot of shit later on. And if you don't feel, like my mom told me this great analogy of the Easter egg of the dyes.
You see your little trauma, like whatever's really hurting you, and it's been dipped one time in the blue. But if you aren't willing to really face it and look at it in that moment, you just keep on dipping it, and it just gets darker and darker. And that's your dark shadow.
Keep submerged in the whole time.
Yes, that's your dark shadow, and it's not a scary ghost. It's nothing scary. It's just part of who you are. You are dark and you are light. You're the yin to the yang, and it's just accepting all that you are. There's freedom in that. Oh my goodness, if I can just scream at the mountaintop, there's freedom in accepting all of you. Don't deny your humanness, because otherwise you're trying to control that you're always in this place of happy and love and light and peace. And really, truly, that's miserable right there. It's exhausting. It's exhausting just not to live and be curious, and to see, oh, you know what, there's another death of myself. There's another death of myself. Yay, I'm human. We did not come down on this earth to be completely all joy, all peace. And what's wrong with you? Let me judge you because you're not this way all the time. No, life happens. And actually, through the darkness, you evolve more maturely in your spirituality. You get to evolve higher and higher. So you're going to always have situations that are going to happen. That is just our human existence. And
Yes.
don't fight it.
Like,
Be
lean
it.
into it
Lean into
and
it.
be able to say sometimes in life that it fucking sucks. Whatever you're going through, it fucking sucks. Like this morning, I literally saw an email that one of my friends that I worked with in San Antonio that has two little boys that will one is 6 and one is about my little son's age, around 3 or 4 years old, that she just passed away due to cancer. And I called up my mom, and I was crazy because we knew we were doing this podcast this morning. And here I was, like, trying to find a deeper meaning behind this. And I'm like, no, you know what? This fucking sucks right now. She passed
Mm-hmm.
away. I'm feeling for her family right now. And many friends have passed away in my life. And that's just something that I walk through. And I was like, wow, this really fucking sucks in the moment. And I was even saying that whenever my other friend passed away back in 2021, that I remember people coming up to me and being like, oh, she was such a great light and she was so sweet. And, she's in a better place. And remember that she's your watching angel and this and this and that. And, oh, you don't need to worry about anything. And they were all right. But in the moment that something shitty happens, they were completely bypassing everything that I was feeling. Like, no, what I wanted was, I know what you're going through right now freaking sucks. It hurts. So if you're going through something painful right now, honor that that shit hurts and feel the pain. Go into the heat of what you're feeling because, like you said, we were going through this for 3 years. I just barely started walking through the pain of how I felt during that death, probably about a year ago. And my son is 3 years old, and she passed away whenever he was born. So it was a long grieving process. So if you don't feel it, you're submerging it under, and it's
Yeah.
going to keep coming up and bubbling up until you
Oh,
finally
it's so
face it.
much more dense. And that was
Yeah.
as something, if would have understood this a long time ago, things would have cleared so much freaking faster. Like face the fear, face the anger, face it all. And the thing about it is your brain, your body is smart enough, your spirit's wise enough. It's only going to let rise up what you truly can handle. And that's a promise. Only what you truly can handle. And then it's going to shed. And then there will be maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, something else. It's a
Yeah.
journey,
And
but
it's
as
fine to
each comes
mourn.
out, you're not having this. You're not having the cancers being built in your body. You're not having the autoimmune diseases happen in your body. Like
Mhm.
you want to let this out and accept in your dark shadow and love it like it's your best friend.
Yeah.
Anyways,
You do not need to
no.
know why anything's happening to you right now in this moment. And that's
One
why I
of
was
the
spiritual bypassing. So I was like, there has to be a deeper meaning behind this.
well, if something does happen, like when Ashlyn called me this morning, and I said this would be the perfect time for us actually to get on here because it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. There's deep sadness for Ashlyn today, and I can feel her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's a beautiful thing. It's okay to grieve. And I have been on both ends. When I didn't understand this and clients came into me, let's say in 2013, 2014, things were going on, I would say, well, what is the one thing you're grateful for? Well, I had that happen to me fast forward in 2020 when I had just walked in to the gym. And I know that everybody's doing this from a good place. I was doing it from a good place, and everybody's always, even with Ashlyn, with her, the people come up to her about with Alexis, they're sometimes it's very awkward for people to not know how to talk to people that have died. But I had literally just had my shower door that's glass slammed on me 5 times and walked in and then had all these text messages coming in of the person I was going to be, leaving. And I was barely holding on to anything. and a person was there, and she's like, what's going on? And I just said one sentence, and it was just devastation. And she's like, well, what's one positive thing? Because there's always a rainbow. Da, da, da. And I was like, I want to scream F you. But I seriously appreciate that moment, because I had done that to other people, and I literally got to witness my own self in that whole love and light stuff. And I really needed, and now I know better, that freaking hug, like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And there was a person there that did that, and I will never forget. And like, can I put you to safety? Can I take care of this? Can I do this? And that was actually a turning point for me, knowing that I was going to be okay, and I for sure was leaving that relationship.
Those people that hold you during those moments, I can see how a lot of people can feel very avoidant whenever someone passes away in someone's life, or something traumatic happens, whatever it is. But it's those people that actually show up and just say, cry, feel what you need to feel.
Yeah.
I didn't really have that during like certain friends passing away, and so I just kept it all bottled in. But like, I felt like there were certain times where it's like, if you don't have somebody you can have to hug, like, hug yourself and be like, just cry, like, just give yourself that hug.
I have you. Yeah,
Yes,
I've done that so many times. Like, I have you.
The inner
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, too, gosh, all these we walked through, and
Yeah, the
one
5
that we
signs.
definitely walked through was believing we were superior than others because we knew more. We are awakened. We are on top of this grand mountain of gratitude and love and light.
Oh,
And all you
guilty.
guys are below us, and I hope someday you'll reach us. And if you
Well, we
don't,
wanted to save everybody at first,
bye-bye.
right? I think we wanted to save everybody. And then when they
Yeah.
weren't wanting to be rescued, we were like, oh, part of our codependency too. And part of the spiritual bypassing, because we're like, I can't be around this negativity, positive vibes only,
Well, a
because
big highlight
you'll ruin
to
me.
what we just talked about was it's a huge ego trap. You think, well, since I know so much and I've learned so much and I've walked through all these certain things, that it's just, it fills your ego, and you don't think it's your ego because you're like, wow, I really did walk through all these things and I really did go through a lot, and this is something I want to share. But then I had to take a step back and realize everybody is walking their own walk and their own journey. If someone tried to force feed me what I know, like back whenever I was Mormon, I'd be like, you are cuckoo, cuckoo beans. Like, what are you talking about? You're a little wild. All these things you're talking about, some fantasy land. And I was trying to force people to like wake up. Like,
Yeah, because you're afraid that
this
you
is
can't
so
hang out with
magical.
them
This is so
anymore.
great. Don't you want to be what I'm doing? And then I just kind of saw that, I mean, yeah, during your awakening, you're going to outgrow people. It's normal. It's part of life. But there were certain amazing people in my life that I was like, I don't know if I can even have them in my life anymore because they're not on the same page as me. They're not awakening at the same time. And oh my gosh, I was like, give everybody an opportunity to just learn on their own. It was so silly of just trying to control. It was like replacing what we learned in the church that we were in. Don't you want to like learn about this magical thing that we just learned? And it's so great and wonderful. And yeah, it is so great and wonderful what we experience. It really is. It's so beautiful. But secluding wonderful people out of your life because they're not reading the same book as you, they're not on the same mind frequency as you, the same energy. It was so ridiculous how I felt that way.
Beautifully said. I agree. If we're going to add to that, let's be real. We're putting on the positive mask and out in public and love and light. And then we're coming home and becoming hermits because, we don't want to cry in front of everybody and we don't want to be angry about something. And we're even denying it in our own home.
Mm-hmm.
Our own humanness, we can deny it. That's what takes you back up to the number one belief is I can't face it. I can't face it because if I can't face other people and what their energy is, then your brain really is telling you like, well, then you can't face yourself. Remember the mirroring. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a big aha moment for me. And to add to that, the triggers would be another one. So whatever triggers you out there, outside of you, is not their deal. It's your deal to go and heal and to take care of yourself. The boundaries, whatever it needs to be, it's our responsibility. I should say ours, because it's we all step into
Well, I
this.
felt like with spiritual bypassing too, the whole empath movement happened as well. Like, oh, I can't be
Right.
around because I'm an empath, and
And I'm
I'm
too
like,
sensitive.
yes, I
Oh, listen, everybody, we've done them all.
we've done it all. We're here to tell you we've done it all. We
Yes.
tried to riding unicorns once upon a time.
Well, and it feels good, but it's almost like an alcoholic drink, like being an alcoholic with the spiritual. It's just like love and light, because it does feel good for a moment, but before you know it, that you're going to get nailed. That's a
Mhm.
given. There is going to be something outside of you that's going to, and it can
Yes.
be a death, it can be anything. And then because you've spiritual bypassed your real emotions, now it's 10 trillion times harder. Within
Mhm.
myself, we are going to talk about the forgiveness thing. If you're not haven't done the work, like really what you felt being raped, I mean, I'm going to be real. And then to have people say that you shouldn't have dressed that way,
Yeah.
like it was like my fault. And then the scarlet letter, so I can't date you. And I never dealt with those emotions. I never dealt with so many people, so many men saying, well, in the Mormon church, because you're not a virgin, although I had been raped, I can't date you. And you feel this unworthiness, not good enough. And yet you're just an amazing freaking person.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wearing the scarlet letter for something that was you were a victim of. And I
Mm-hmm.
just kept that under, and these little fishies that really were like dead in my pond. And it literally carried me forward with the relationships for 30 years. So when I'm saying don't do those two things or break the belief system of it, you're powerful enough.
Yes.
I've faced a lot of stuff. I know a lot of people that have faced some serious crazy dirt. I'm going to have a couple of them up here with Ashlyn and I.
Yes. It's also kind of like I said, final destination. I had an ideal of how my life should be. Whenever I was going through certain things, well, my life shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should have this body. I should have this life. I should have this car. I should have this giant house. Because it's like, along with like the spiritual side, you go through this manifesting. Realize that relationships that are in your life right now are meant to be in your life. And they're supposed to show you even just like the littlest thing. Like someone yells at you at a grocery store. Maybe that's going to show you a trigger in your life. And I'm not saying you deserve that
Well,
treatment because that's not how it's,
no.
you're not supposed to be
Triggers
treated
are
that
your
way.
best friend. That's a wonderful mantra to take from today. Triggers are your best friend because they're just showing you where you need to heal. That's it.
Yeah. So no final destination. And I think about 3 years ago, I was reading the Eckhart Tolle book and I was thinking about like the present moment. And I'm like, I have accomplished all highs of highs and this is great. And I was like, I am never going to feel anything again or experience anything
Yeah.
negative in my life again.
No more ego.
No,
La la
you
la.
are literally going to have your ego. You're going to have feelings, all emotions on all ranges that are meant for you to feel
Yeah.
and notice things in your life till the day you die.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, because we are taught about the pyramid of emotions. So there's like the lowest energy is guilt and shame, you know, that goes up to fear. And so that's sold into you that you can't be part of the vortex. And that is real. Those are the energy fields, but we're meant to feel them all and not bypass them.
And yes, life should be love and light, but damn it, there's going to be moments in your life that you're going to
Yeah.
hurt, and we're not going to be here to tell you to shove it under. We're not going to tell you
Right.
that. Journaling is great, manifesting is great. All those vision boards, everything, all those are just amazing tools in your life, but they're tools. They help you get to where you need to be, but until you feel what you are going through right now or have gone through, it's those tools are just going to be on your belt like Bob the Builder and not be in any of use.
That's
not.
why I think the burn book was so intuitively inspired for me to do, where I took almost a whole entire week to write down all my fears, all my
Mhm.
anger, all my frustrations, all the things I felt like had been done to me as a victim and everything else. And it brought a lot of things to light. And then I felt so much lighter, and I was able to actually have other things surface. So cannot repeat this enough. It is a journey. It's a journey. If you're always in your victim story, or most often in your victim story, or you're kind of a negative Nancy, like the brain's wired that way, then yes, there's going to have to be some movement of reading the power of positivity, because
Yes,
positivity is great.
of
To move
truest.
out of your story and let the old persona die. It needs to die. And it's breaking the habit of being yourself. So if you're not going to even be able to do then one and two, if your persona is so stuck in your victim story or so stuck in the negative. So we're not saying that you go, oh, I'm going to be so real with my emotions, and every day you go around and you're so mean
Yes.
and you're so angry at everything. We're not saying
That's
that
one thing
either.
that I
There's
was
a
telling
bit.
you about yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, mom, like this is just such a fine freaking line of feeling your emotions. I have to fix this before I can step out into the real world. These emotions that you're feeling, that's the guidance to where you're supposed to go on your path. It's time to shift and really begin that process. And this is where I'm at, even just right now for myself. I am feeling what I need to feel. I'm crying when I need to, whenever I'm feeling sad. I'm laughing whenever I'm happy. And most of the time, I'm being in the moment with my family and friends. I saw this little girl with a shirt on the other day that said, always positive. And
Mm,
I'm like, I want to like debunk all
I've
those
heard
little
that
girl
twice
shirts that
today.
say,
Mm-hmm.
always positive, always be smiling and sunshine, and
Don't buy
always
into
a
it.
ray of light. Like, always, you're telling me
No.
whenever you were 8 years old, you were always a ray of sunshine. No, I'm pretty sure I was a turd a lot of the times.
Well, that's what
But
you can go back to see. You can see
yes,
ourselves at 8, 9, and 10, and we weren't like sitting there thinking, I shouldn't feel this way. And many of us, like for me, it was I was sad, and it would say, turn that frown upside down, turn it into a smile. There's some stinking song out there from the 70s and 80s that the moms would sing to us, but literally still to this day, I'll have something I really want to talk about that's heartfelt, and I've learned to not do this anymore. But it's always like, well, look at the bright side of things, or it's just smile, and I hope you like can just have a better day. And I'm like, I rarely say anything, so when it does come out of me, it's, if anybody does know me, it's like I need to feel heard, and this was really bad, and it did just happen. I'm not like taking things back.
I walked with myself and I was expecting perfection within myself during my awakening period of getting to that destination and awakening. And then I saw that I expected that in my friendships of perfection.
Such a mirror.
And if you
I'm
are,
sorry, everybody out there, please forgive me.
yeah, now I don't look at my friendships like you need to be perfect. You need to be on this high at all times. Because if you are doing that, I
Hmm.
guarantee there's going to be something in your life that is going to hit you. And you're not going to want someone to tell you that everything is meant to happen. They're in a better place. Or, um, if you, even if your just dog dies, well, they lived, they were happy. They brought positivity to your life. You're not going to want to be in that zone. So
Think about, yeah. I mean,
do unto others as you want done unto you
I've
during your
had, yeah, when Jezebel passed away, and when I finally decided, because I was still in the spiritual bypassing some of it, and I just told Ashlyn, I was devastated. I sent it to my boys, and then I, my clients knew, and they so stepped up. They had the most beautiful advice and love, and brought me flowers and cards. I was like, yeah, they're dog lovers, and like they're their children. And they talked. One of my clients said, and I'll say this because I think he's like, in my lifetime, I've always had dogs, and he says, I feel like because they're with you 24/7 and you're taking care of them, they never leave home. They're just there. and they're so unconditional. He says, I almost feel like you fall more in love with your pets sometimes, feel more connected than you
Mm-hmm.
can with humans. And he's like, I'm really sorry. And I honestly was like, wow, that was so heartfelt perspective and kind. And um, I've learned a lot of things about how people have treated me and how I want to treat others. And I've learned things that I've done in the spiritual bypassing that I definitely don't want to ever do anything. And I think Ash and I definitely learned a lot about death and grief. And
Death of
um,
ourselves and of others, for sure.
yeah, I've had so many personas of me die, and they'll continue to die. It's just it's just an evolutionary thing. And if we're feeling like that we can't face something, it's the inner child that's answering you. It's that program in the brain. It's the little glitch in the brain that wants to be like, hey, you can't handle this because it might take you out. You might also become schizophrenic or psychosis, or, end up in the mental institution. And because there are stories out there like this. So when I did mention that if it's a ton of depth and you're at a point in your life that, you know what, I want to go to a somatic healer, I'm going to repeat that again, or a trauma therapist. They're all around. They're wonderful. Trauma therapists can take you down into places that a lot of people say they don't remember their childhood, and they don't know why they keep on doing certain actions that aren't benefiting their life. And it is so worth it to get that help, because once it's seen, it dissolves.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be seen, whatever you intuitively feel like loving on it, or talking to your little inner girl, little inner boy. And I say this because I've done the work, and I'll continue to do the work. But what we're sharing here are like, okay, well, it took us this many years to figure this out. And
Yes.
so grateful that 2020 happened, in the fact that so many things came up for us to see. Because even some of the most wonderful, beautiful spiritual guides out there, different people that are out there on YouTube, have even come out and said, listen, we were part of this spiritual bypassing ourselves. We were part of telling y'all love and light, stay in the right vortex, or stay in the right energy, and get away from everybody that's negative, because you'll become negative. No, no, you won't. You don't have to. You still have a choice, and you still have boundaries. We talked about that. That's imperative. You don't just go and hang out with a circle of people and think you're not going to become likened to those
Oh, yeah,
people.
100%.
But you also need to do your own healing work, because anything outside of you that triggers you or hurts you is your responsibility to take rapid action to take care of yourself.
Well, I even
So,
wrote too on my self love journal that I created on my Amazon. I actually have a page dedicated in here to writing a letter to yourself, your little girl self, and then to your future self. And I felt like whenever I did that myself, that writing to my little girl self, I was just telling her, I'm like, it's okay to feel how you feel. And you were like, I was a very emotional child, I felt like, and just very already in tune with like my intuition and my emotions. And um, I wrote down so many beautiful things in there, but I just remember telling myself that you, as a baby, you were allowed to cry. Like, we don't tell babies to stop crying because they're they're telling us their needs. That's how they communicate. And whenever this baby's born, it's going to cry whenever it needs food or tired or wants just love. And I feel like now as adults, we internalize those cries that we used to cry out when we were even just toddlers. Like Malay will get, like, he'll go, like hug, and I'll hug him. But as adults, we feel like we need to internalize like our tears and our hurt because maybe we're being too needy. I've been around many people that have been part of the awakening process, and it's like you feel like you can't be part of the exterior world of what's going on, and it's being real and logical. I know the spiritual world can be just so safe and cozy and warm, but it's okay to talk about artists and music and different things going on because we're human. We're having a human experience. If we were just here, like, well, I can't wait till I hop into the next realm. I can't wait till I hop into the
Yeah,
next
I'm on level 11.
extraterrestrial kingdom.
Pretty sure he's on a 7 and then so and so's on 19 or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's a game of life, but we're all on our special journey,
And we're here
and
to love one another too. And
yeah,
sometimes, like I said
and love
before,
ourselves most.
yes, loving ourselves most. So loving others around us, sometimes from afar, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
But it's
Well,
like Jesus said, it's he like love everybody. He
love
taught
thyself
that
as a, yeah.
constantly. Love the poor, love the rich, love the greedy, the love the people that are selfish and all that, but it doesn't mean to permanently keep them in your energy.
Yeah. So face it, because that's where Ashley and I are now, where we're talking from, is because of a lot of facing. And it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not supposed to be comfortable. It's not like you're sitting back and eating popcorn and be like, oh, I'm going to face it.
Yeah.
It's going to be uncomfortable. And the more you do it, the more you trust yourself and the more you realize, okay, that actually felt amazing. It's kind of like lifting weights and you're really pushing hard and it hurts and you're burning up and you're like, oh my goodness, these bicep curls and I feel like the lactic acid's on fire, but you can have bigger muscles. So you're going to have bigger spiritual muscles in your pineal gland, and your spirit's going to show up for you and you're going to just know its presence. You're capable, you're powerful, and you're not the wounded person that cannot handle this. And the more you test it, the more you try it out, just try little things, and the more you get to see, wow, you know what, and I feel lighter. I feel lighter in my soul. I feel more free. I actually, by doing this, even though it felt like it could have been crazy, I have more peace, and I didn't even have to try to put myself in peace. And that's what happens when you decide to not do the whole spiritual bypassing and saying, some emotions are good or bad. Honestly, I believed some emotions were good or bad until 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand because I'd been taught that for my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And I believed it. I just chose to believe in that agreement. And because my brain was wired that way, I was scared of angry people. I was scared of being angry. This was so freeing for me. It was so freeing for me to actually really conceptualize this and
Yeah.
implement it and integrate it into my brain and my body, of loving my dark shadow, of loving my light. Otherwise, they're pulled apart. You can even think of this as like I'm separate from my ego, but it's the dark shadows actually can be somewhat helpful in showing you, like, obviously your triggers and different things. It can be helpful. So, but they need to be together. Otherwise, you're denying yourself. You're denying your human experience, and that's only going to cause um, pain and avoidance of in your life and numbing out and all the different things. And so we've talked about it several times, but walking the walk, y'all, it's worth it. It's beyond worth it. And if you need help, obviously join our community. And we'll be showing you a lot more different things as far as the dark shadow work and the trigger healing and fun stuff like that. They're going to be our next episodes. But I know this kind of maybe felt a little dark. We don't care. I'm kidding. Because we're not going to be all love and light on all these things.
You can see.
We invite you to share your stories. We invite you to share things down below, things that have been a part of like your spiritual awakening. And, I mean, I have 100% raised my hand to the fact that I have walked all these at some point in my life. And even just recently, there was, when I was going through this, I thought, I'm still have that. And I notice it, and I was able to break free from it because I faced it. And I was like, with spiritual bypassing, I was like, but the freedom, the peacefulness, and having to become your new persona for right now. They keep on evolving and dying.
Yeah, and I know that sometimes too. It's we try to like not try to be negative around other people because maybe we know that they're going through a hard time, or that you just want to be that positive friend. but that can become very draining after a certain time. And I think that they'll even respect you more and honor your relationship more just if you're being real. Because I felt like I wasn't able to be real with my friendships a lot of times because I felt like I had to be like this example of spirituality. Like I said in the Mormon church, I felt like I had to be an example of a good Mormon little girl. And gosh, you can get so caught up in just, it's kind of fake. It's very
Yeah, it's
fake
not
being
real.
that friend that's just
It's
like,
not
everything's
real.
all wonderful and great. And sometimes, yeah, I am that friend that's like, by the way, life is wonderful. This is happening. Yeah. But, and you shouldn't be that friend that's always negative. But like I said, if you are feeling something, you need somebody, reach out to that trusted friend that you can say, hey, I'm going through a lot right now. And I know I'm not really that person to ever really express my emotions. I'm always happy, this or that, but I need you right now. And I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I never called out to my friends during like certain hard periods of time. And I look back and I'm like, I could have done that because I have a lot of amazing friendships where they would have been like open arms. So I felt like I kind of took the victim story of
I did too.
they're not there for me and this and that. Well, yeah, because you Miss Pollyanna, Miss Little Ray of Sunshine.
You don't want to look weak. We didn't want to look
Yes.
weak. We didn't, and I did have enough experiences in my life to teach me that lesson of when I did say things, either it was a little spread out like in a crazy story, or they were like, I can't handle the fact that you're
Yeah.
being negative, like you're having this situation. I can't take the capsule of what just went on in your life. And so I learned very quickly
Mm-hmm.
to be quiet and take care of myself.
Yeah.
And you're right. We evolved into having different friendships and different things that would have completely hugged us and taken us
Yeah.
in and been like, oh my gosh, let me totally take care of you
Mm-hmm.
in that moment. Like, let me love on you in this moment. Because we've done it. How many millions of times have we done it for others?
Yeah. Exactly.
I've been
Exactly.
that capsule so many
It's just
times.
that fine line between
Codependent.
being like negative all the time,
Yeah. I
and then there's
can't.
also being positive all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just being real with yourself in the moment. And
Yeah.
that's where it really comes
That's
down
beautiful,
to.
Ashlyn. I love how you put that there. That's really beautiful how you put that because
I just,
you're right.
yeah,
Find
there's
that
times
real
where
self.
your real self just needs to shine through. And if you catch
Yeah.
yourself being negative Nancy or Nelly or whatever, then that's when you do need to take a step back and think about,
Yeah.
okay, why am I negative all the time?
Yeah. The
And I felt
telltale
like I needed
signs.
to take a step back and be
Mm-hmm.
like, why am I being positive all the time?
Yeah, me too.
And going home and feeling like I wasn't even my true self. I was denying, I was dimming myself, all these emotions. And boom, here they are now popping up.
I know.
And that's what I mean. I'm like, it's funny because I always felt like there was going to be a destination and I would just never have to
Oh,
go through
I
anything ever
still have to
again.
tell myself on weeks, some days, there's not a destination. I don't know if any of your brains out there will do this, but I'm like, there's not a destination. And then my brain instantly goes to, what do you think is going to be next?
Yes.
Is a parent going to pass away?
Trauma
It's just
brain's
trying to
trying to
protect
prepare you.
us.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's just trying to protect us. And we can just be like, it's all good. One of the things when I was going through the very beginning of my trauma with the spiritual bypassing, but instead this actually was a thing that really worked, is that I would write it in my journal. Okay, this is all the negative feelings I'm feeling. Like, here's a page. This is what I'm really feeling. And because I was spiritual bypassing before, like, I can't feel this. So I write it down,
Yeah,
and
you
then
can
I'd
spiritual
ask my
bypass your
higher
journals.
self. Yeah. I'd say, God, what do you feel like is the truth? I just want to know the truth. And then I would just let my pen start to write. And I'm like, wow. And it wasn't spiritual bypassing. It wasn't like, oh, all love and light. It was just like seeing perspectives, bringing immense peace to and wisdom to my own self. And it was very healing. And that book is one of my favorite books because I was like, this is going on right now. My inner
Yeah.
child's talking. My little
Yeah.
girl's talking to me. Um, and then the next page was now my adult, more mature spiritual version of me was just like, boom, yeah, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And I left that book I felt like there was a healing that happened there. Like Ash and I have talked about that. You kind of go through quite a few deaths of your persona.
So many.
You really do. We've said it before. We literally felt so many times that I would talk to her on Friday and I'm like, I don't even know the person I was last Friday. And it's going so fast because I'm facing so much. I'm
And that's
allowing
what
it
we
to face
realized
it.
too, not to hold people to where they were even just a year ago, 6 months ago, a month
Right.
ago.
Right. And I
I was doing
released
that.
too. I think one of the other things that released us a lot to be able to do is like you said in the very beginning, I released doing the whole jumping in and trying to save anybody or trying to like do the fixing or whatever because I could see something, or like we were saying to like give everybody the New Earth book.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing book. I'll never take that away
Yes.
from it. It
And if
changed my
you're
life
ready for it,
forever.
hop into it. It's
Yeah, and the
amazing.
gratitude book changed my life. But it's like beautifully said how Ashton said, like, you can't be all positive and you can't be all negative. It's accepting both emotions, and they're not good or bad. They're just emotions, and finding what really is your truth along your journey, and just being in the moment and just being real, just being your authentic self. And
That's whenever I'm grateful Edgar Tolle's book came around, The New Earth, of being in the moment, because that was
yeah,
really part of our journey. Because
yeah, and awareness
you
of your
can't
thoughts.
spiritual
Because
bypass and be in the moment.
yeah,
You
as I
can't.
would start to be awareness of where my thoughts, I'm like, well, then this would be why my mood's the way it is. Oh, okay, well, you just deep dived down a rabbit hole over to the other side of the ocean.
Yes.
and um, and so being aware of in the moment makes you realize you don't even have to go down the rabbit hole, um, unless you choose to. Like if
It's good to read more books and explore yourself.
yeah, don't
Like
get
you
us
said,
wrong, we
it's
are
like don't
constant
get,
learners.
don't keep. I love reading.
Yeah, I
I'm
love reading. It's just
constantly
not do
learning.
it to dope out. Don't do it to
Yes.
be avoidant of actually doing the work.
Yes, I agree.
That's what we meant by that when we said it. So
And
hopefully y'all listen to the end of this because I might have got confused. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Well, thank you guys so much, and we will
Yeah.
see you on the next
Yep.
one.
Know thyself, love thyself, and be thyself.
Bye
Much
bye.
love.